for John Springer to finally put away his officiating gear. Springer was 75 at the time. It marked the end of a 50-year run as a high school baseball, softball, football and basketball official, one that also included years of Springer acting as the Rochester Area Officials Association scheduler, assigning referees to all high school sports except for soccer and lacrosse. Springer's run will be celebrated on Sunday when this guy, who's forever been known as much for the twinkle in his eyes as his endless service to high school athletes, is inducted into the Minnesota State High School League Hall of Fame. He is among 12 being inducted at the Intercontinental St. Paul Riverfront Hotel, Springer the lone official of the bunch. Not surprisingly, Springer was on his way to an officiating assignment when that awful car accident happened 10 years ago. I was crossing over to get on a road headed toward New Prague when I got T-boned at an intersection, said Springer, his car having been smashed on its driver's side. I broke 8 ribs and got scarred up a bit. Fortunately, there were no more injuries more severe than that. But after that happened, my wife, Patricia, said there was probably a message there for me, that it was time to give up officiating. Springer did, but not without some withdrawals. Being an umpire and referee had forever been a major part of who he was, dating all the way back to when he returned from a 4-year stint in the Air Force as a 24-year-old. The Millville native had spent much of his free time in the Air Force playing softball. He'd loved it and upon returning home wanted more. He kept playing, but also found a way to augment his time on the ball diamond. It's how all of those officiating years got their start. I had the fever for softball when I got home, Springer said. Upon seeing that, I had a few people encourage me to also try to be an official. So, I did. And I got hooked. He didn't only figure out how to umpire softball, but how to officiate pretty much everything. And it wasn't too long before he was doing the teaching, heading officiating clinics and breaking down rules. There was a conscious order to how Springer pieced his life together after returning from the service. Upon his arrival home, he set out to get a job, picking IBM where he worked for the next 33 years and eventually became a mechanical engineer. Then he got married, followed by having 4 kids. But almost immediately, there was that entrance into the officiating world. It started with softball, then expanded to pretty much every other sport offered at the high school level. The schooling to become an official in those days was pretty simple. They didn't offer classes but instead the newcomers simply attended a rules meeting, took a test, and if they passed it, they were good to go. And go Springer did. This was the ultimate worker, usually refereeing 4 nights per week and up to 6 during the basketball season.